Hey, what's up? This is Don and welcome to another quick tips video for Cinema 4D. And today I'm just going to be showing you how to do an effect which I used in one of my latest projects. So at around 2 seconds in this, we only have this object in the middle. It's actually a shotgun shell. And then not long after that, we see these other bullets kind of start to appear from the front and they sort of grow into the scene. And the ones at the back are the last ones to appear. So in Cinema 4D, I've just sort of reconstructed, a more simpler version of what we have going on there. And this is what it looks like. And all I have is a cloner object with the object which I want to do this to. So in this case, it's a Platonic, but this can be anything you want. And then I have a plane object, which is, if I turn off this other one, what this plane object does is shrink all of, my clones to a size that you can't see them. And then this other plane object, the second one, named plane 1, being creative right there, and it kind of sweeps in and rescales those clones to the original size, so they are back to normal. And then we just have a random effector just creating some organic look there. So let me show you how I did this from the beginning. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of all these effectors, and what I'm left with is just a cloner and a Platonic. You need the cloner because it's a MoGraph object, and you can only affect you can only use effectors with MoGraph objects, so that's why I'm using the clone. And I'll be using a different shape. Let's try a cube, and kind of looks like this, but let's make it smaller. Let's have a 100 by 100 by 100. And I'm just going to press Shift V and go to my display options, and I'll use Gouraud shading lines so we can see this a little bit better. Alright, so let's insert that first plane effector, which will shrink our clones. So let's go to MoGraph, effector, plane, and the plane effector affects your objects uniformly, so every single one of these cubes gets the same treatment from the plane effector, which is why when I change any of these values, the same happens to every single clone. But we won't be changing the position here, so I will untick that. What we're most interested in is the scale. So if I tick that, I get 3 different boxes here, the X, Y, and Z scale. But I want to be able to control all of these at once, so I'll go to Uniform Scale and tick that, and now I'm just left with this one box that I can type into. And here I'm going to type in minus 0.99. The reason why I'm not going to -1 is that it will make this completely disappear, and I don't want them to. I just want them to be really small, and you will see why I used minus 0.99 in just a second. So now that we have all of our clones shrinked, we now want to use another plane effector to bring them back, and we're going to be animating that one. So let's go to MoGraph again. Let's go to effector, plane, and I didn't have my cloner selected there, so this plane effector isn't actually doing anything to this cloner object. So I'll go to the effectors tab and drag it in right there. So with that, I'll go to the plane object. Let's turn off the position once again. Let's go to scale, uniform scale, and this time I'll type in 100, and this will return all of the clones to the same to the original size. And then if I go to fall off, and by the way, before I move on, if I go back to the first plane and I type in -1, this effectively makes the cube disappear. It gives it a scale value of 0. And now if you do 0 times 100, that's on this other plane object, you still get 0, which is why they don't appear. So we have to go for minus 0.99 for this to work. Anyway, Let's go back to this plane object, the one with the scale of 100. Let's go to the fall off, and we'll change the shape from infinite to box. And as I move this, nothing is happening because this is too small. So I will put the scale up from 100% to 500%, and this may be larger depending on your scene. And now you see that everything that's contained within this box, when I move it around, it gets scaled to the original size. Now obviously this isn't big enough, so I'm just gonna grab this anchor here and I'm gonna extend the size of this, and I wanna sort of make sure that it's the right size and that it encapsulates all of our cubes. So this is about right. What I'll do is go to frame 0, pull this all the way back so that it's completely not touching the clones, and then I'll go to that frame and hold Control and left click to insert a keyframe, and then I'll go to a different point in time. This is 60 frames, which is 2 seconds in my project, and I'll again just hold Control and click that to create a new keyframe. But before I do that, I need to actually move this to here first, so my bad, and then just save that keyframe again. So now we have this second plane object animating in, and I keep calling it plane object, but it's actually a plane effector, so excuse me for that. But you can see that the effect is working and our clones now pop into existence, and you can see that it's very uniform. So I'll go to the cloner, go to MoGraph effector, and this time I'm going to use the random effector, and like its name suggests, it affects the clones randomly, so you get a I guess a more organic look, which looks more natural, I guess. I don't know, it just depends on what you're going for. In this example, you can see that it's very randomized. So that is it for this tutorial. I hope you learned something new, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Peace out.